Yes, sir. I hope the recording has been started.
Area hails from Kumbakonam, the holy city in Tamil Nadu, India. I have belongs to a family of hereditary architects, sculptors, and painters, and I am belongs to the Vishwakarma community. My ancestors were builders of the great temples, temple chariots, and many kind of temple utilities. After my post-graduation, I taken up my family profession. I learned Vedas and Silpasastra from my father Acharya Panjabagesa. My grandfathers in both sides, they are well-known architects and sculptors and painters. Since my childhood, I was trained by my family elders to take on the family profession as sacred architecture and cultivated many important qualities in me. So I am in front of you to explain something about the temple architecture and sculpture and paintings. Okay.
Dhanyavad, sir. It's a pleasure. Let me introduce, sir, that this channel, we just launched this channel for the sake that we want to create the awareness about our culture, about our guru culture and everything, what is basically Indian culture is all about and how rich our heritage is. So for that, we are grateful that you agreed to give your lecture, to have conversation with us on the occasion of Vishwakarma Jayanti. And before I start, I would like to tell all my viewers that it's our luck. We are really blessed to have people like you still with us and giving your lecture. It's an honor to have conversation with you. So before I start, sir, I would like to ask how you explained about yourself. You told us about yourself, but how you inculcated your interest in this? How came you got interested in coming to this profession? It's natural, or after seeing your parents and grandparents coming to this field?
Since my childhood, I was taught by my grandmother as well as my father and mother. All are very good artists. And because of this family background, they are imbibed the curiosity to know about the art and architecture.
Okay.
As well as they given me a kind of training, not the formal training, but they are always interested not to give the teaching or the preaching. Instead, they are influencing me very much. So wherever the temple, when I was very young, too young, along with my parents as well as my grandmother. They showed the pillar, they showed the leaves and the creepers, animals, and devatas. So I do not know how I am getting so much of interest towards that art, architecture, as well as the learning also. My family adopted a unique method,
Okay.
not harassing and violent method of teaching. Instead, they are in a very natural way they taught Vedas as well as the Shilpa texts.
Okay. That's wonderful. Means you got that environment since beginning.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful, sir. So before we start, uh, happy Vishwakarma Jayanti to you. When I will be uploading it, it will be on Vishwakarma Jayanti. So I would like to ask you, uh, tell us something about Bhagwan Vishwakarma.
Yes. The Vishwakarma Jayanti today we are going to celebrate.
Yes.
Normally, people may think Vishwakarma is the Lord for the arts and crafts. But Vishwakarma is a Vedic god.
Okay.
We are well aware that the oldest literature in the human history is Vedas. So in the Rig Veda, one of the oldest Veda among the four Vedas, in the 10th mandala, 81 and 82 Sukta dedicated to Lord Vishwakarma. So in which the Vishwakarma praised as the creator of the universe, cosmic universe. The two hymns in the Rig Veda elaborated the auspiciousness of the god Vishwakarma as well as his deeds and how the galaxy is again and again created in such a manner. So, according to Rig Veda, he is all-seeing, having eyes on everywhere, face on everywhere, arms and feet on every side. He is provider with the wings. He is the saint, priest, as well as our father. He is the Lord of speech, Vachaspati, swift as thought, beneficent, the source of all prosperity. So, the Veda, 10th mandala, without any ambiguousness, very clearly mentioned about the Vishwakarma. Also, the Veda says that he knows all places and being, and he alone gives the names to the God. Vishwakarma is a God giving names to the other gods. He is a wise and energetic, and he has a Paramasamdrik. He has the highest vision, highest vision. He is an establisher, Dhadir, and the disposer, Vidhadir, having produced the earth and disclosed the sky. Vishwakarma was owing to the name mainly thought of in his architectural aspect. Vishwakarma in the Brahmana period, he expressively identified with the creator Prajapati. So the Vishwakarma is not a mere god. In the Puranas, it is completely shifted the position of Vishwakarma to the ordinary level. But in the Vedas, we have a lot of theory about the cosmology, how the universe was created and how the creation is still going on. So for the Lord Vishwakarma is the creator. He has Sarvato Mukha, Sarvato Bahu. So everywhere his eyes are there, his feet are there. So he is a Vachaspati. Vachaspati means he was the word, the Lord of speech or giver of the word. So the word is called, every alphabet in our system we call Nada Brahma. So that is why the Vishwakarma considered, prized by the rishis as Vachaspati. In Vedas, lot of theories of creation. So the other name is Prajapati in the rest of the Vedic literature. But he is Vishwakarma prized as Prajapati. He is also prized as Swayambhu, also called as Parameshtin. So these words are amply mentioning about the creative capacity of the God Vishwakarma. He is not ordinary God. We are many times we come across in the Puranas. There is no such place, lower position for Vishwakarma in the Vedas. So taking into the consideration of Veda, that is the prime source for our philosophy, grammar, work, everything it is coming from the Veda. So that is why the Vishwakarma, according to Veda, he is the Parabrahma. So it is so clear in the Veda, Swayambho Sampo Vishwakarmanaha, it is mentioned, Swayambhu, Parameshtin, Virat, all these words are used to praise the Lord Vishwakarma.
Okay, sir. My question is, so how is he related to Brahmaji? What is
So
the
Brahma-
relationship between Vishwakarma ji and Brahmaji?
So actually Brahma not mentioned in the Vedas.
Okay.
Only Brahmanaspati is mentioned, not the Brahma.
Okay.
Brahma is the later in the Puranic period. They are created with the 4 heads. The actually 5 head is 1 head was taken away by the Lord Shiva. These are all mentioned in the Puranas. But as your devotees of temple architecture itself, as a devotee of Vedas, we must understand Vishwakarma is Vedic deity, Brahma is not at all the Vedic deity. The creation coming from the Brahma, it is a somebody having simplified the Vedic concept, they had written as Brahma. So there is no such things.
Means they are same, but said something different in different places at different places.
Yes.
They are same.
Yes, Vishwakarma is one and the same.
As one and this is Brahmaji and Vishwakarma. Fine, sir. Good to know about this because it's wonderful to know in depth who is Bhagwan Vishwakarma. And second thing is I want to know who all belong to Vishwakarma community, because everybody these days they are involved in development, all kind of development. Those who are, if we see that our culture, Indian culture, is not a caste system based, it is karma system based. These days we are basically calling it a caste system and giving the caste that these people belong to this community. Otherwise earlier it was like karmic decisions, na? Means you belong to the karma you are doing, you belong to that community, isn't it so?
Yes, of course. The long history of the anthropology of the human evolution as well as that of the social evolution is Vedas called as the Shruti, and
Shruti.
Rest of the Shruti.
Okay.
Shruti, Shrunu, Shruti. Shruti means it is a heard or felt. But rest of the literatures are called as Smritis. Those were written are called Smriti. Those were heard, the words of God by the rishis in the trance, they are called as Sruni or the Shruti. So Vedas called Shruti, or rest of the things are called Smriti. There is a wide gap of thousands of years for the Shruti and Smriti. So, as a human mind developing, that purity may change. That is why there are discrepancies between the Vedic idea and the rest of in the Smriti, just like that of the Manusmriti, etc.
Okay.
So, thousands of years, thousands of people and crores of people come across, so that the situation is not at all same. But I am not the expert in the field of the human evolution, but I strongly believe that the Vedas are the prime source of knowledge. So Veda means itself is a knowledge. So that knowledge system is taken by all kind of people, not only the particular people. The Veda is everybody have the rights to the Veda. So the Vedas are divine words coming from the God, heard by the rishis. The rishis are never be having within the circle, smallest circle. So the Vedas are eternal. The rishis are also eternal. The words it is coming down to the Veda. These are all not to the anybody's property, but it is for the entire, not only for our Bharata Varsha, it is to be all over the world. The human history never met such kind of highly spiritualized words. So that caste system, we do not know when it was started, whether in the Vedic period or other period. I do not know. But we have one question. The caste system was followed since the time immemorial. Even during the period of Ashoka, there are inscriptions about the artist. And below that, the Satavahana period, and so many things about 2000, 2500 years. We are heard about the lot of clans are coming out. They are not caste, but they are clan. So the people taking one particular type of work, they are taking it, they are specialized in it, they are given to the transfer that knowledge to the own family or to the own clan. So like that, I am belongs to Vishwakarma community, the community which has taken the temple construction activity, they called as Vishwakarmas. As well as during the Vedic period also, the chariot maker, Taksha, or the carpenter, having the highest social position. So that in the Vedic rituals, the Veda, that is the sacrifices, Vedic sacrifices, the chief priest always be the carpenter. So in the Vedic Yajnasala itself, there are three kind of kundas. Avaganti, Darshanagni.
Sorry, sir, could you please repeat it? Three kinds of?
Three kinds of sacrifice. Three yajna kundas.
Okay, sacrifice, okay.
Three kind of yajna kundas are there.
Okay.
In which the opposite, there is one chariot must be there. The carpenters are having the high social respects. So during the period of Veda also, the division of labor, the division of profession was established. After that, The higher up and lower hierarchy, we do not know when it was came into existence. But as per my knowledge, I am belongs to that community. So what are the 5 rishis mentioned in the Yajurveda, that is Krishna Yajurveda? They clearly mentioned that Sanaha, Sanadana, Abhuvana, Pratakshana, and Suvarnasa rishis. So these 5 rishis are mentioned. The 5 rishis are very closely associated with that of Vishwakarma.
Okay.
So the Vishwakarma clan was emerged from the 5 rishis. The 5 rishis name clearly mentioned in the Krishna Yajurveda as well as in the other Vedic literature.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for telling this also. Next question is, so many things has been mentioned or we heard about, because without such a divine qualification, these monuments cannot be built. So
Yes.
can you elaborate us or tell us the details of the qualification at that time the Sthapatis were having?
Actually, the Vishwakarma, the community generally called Shilpis.
Shilpi.
Shilpam is the base word for almost all the Indian languages. Shilpa. The Shilpa Sanskrit word, in Tamil it is called Sirpam.
Shilpa.
So it is not particularly point out to the sculpture. Shilpa means any Shilpa Vidya Mahimanam. It is mentioned in the Brahmanas. What it means, the Shilpa means the science and technology.
Science and technology.
Yes.
Shilpa means
Who
science
is
and technology.
Shilpi? Who is Shilpi? The Shilpi is a person knowing the science and technology, that is Shilpa, and he must, without any personal interest, he must share with the society, and the fruit of the technology must be given to the society. It is very clearly mentioned in the Brahmana, Sarvada Brahmana. It is the commentary of Sri, the Arya Samaj founder, that is Dayananda.
Sir, I just want to interrupt. Yeah, I just want to keep it on the fingers just like that. Means Shilpi, the Vishwakarma community belongs to Shilpi. They are called Shilpi, and the knowledge they acquire is called Shilpa. That is the science and technology of architecture. Am I right?
Science and technology of any kind of architecture.
Any kind of architecture.
Any kind of architecture.
Okay, okay.
So it means agricultural implements to the temple architecture.
Okay.
Military technology to the shipbuilding. So everything.
It's
So
not just
everything-
related to temple architecture. Whatever we are building, creating, developing, everything is related to that technology and science. And that is
Yes.
the part of Vishwakarma,
Yes.
Bhagwan and the society, the community.
Yes.
Okay.
In Shilpa means the science and technology. If you take a Shilpam become the righteous merit. The Shilpa, what is the secret of the Shilpa? If you come across with the Yajna Kundas, that is Shilpa. Temple also Shilpa. Making of Yupa or the Stampa for the Vedic sacrifice as well as of the temple pillar. It is called also called as Yupa. They are very much mentioned in the Shilpa. So the Shilpa means the sacred work. So spirituality is the secret of art in our country. What is the secret of architecture? The secret of architecture is not only the pleasant staying place or a living place or the place where we have to stay for long years, for generations. They are not that is also, but in a nutshell, what is the Shilpa is it has to give primary importance to each and every person in the society.
Means associated with spirituality. Anything that is not physical or superficial, that is deeply associated with spirituality. Not just a
Yes,
piece of land or
spirituality,
not just a construction. Everything has an association with something spiritual.
spirituality and Shilpa is never be, both are synonymous because our country has a unique method. We are never think about the emotional aspect or the sensation, all these things in the Shilpa. So we never be, Indians are never considered the emotion as highest or the simple factor of sensation. These are all we never bother about it. In our artwork, in our architecture is there, but we are always longing for the spirituality. What is spirituality? What is Atma? That is very, very important aspect.
Okay, sir.
And regarding the qualification of the Sthapati, basic qualification, these are all mentioned in the Shilpa text. The Shilpa text, there are more than thousands of texts in our country. And because of the continuous invasion by the alien, that is against the hostile forces, they destroyed most of our text. So even after that, we have a lot of at least 30 to 35 Shilpa texts in our hand.
How
So
many
all
Shilpa
these
texts, sir?
Shilpa texts,
How many?
about 35.
35.
Yes.
Okay. Are they easily available to read?
So about 10 to 15 books are available in the printed. Printed books are available.
Okay. So we can search them online.
Yes, it is available. Even it is available in the internet also. If you search in the net, you have to download the Shilpa text.
Okay, okay. Got it, sir. Thank you for your information. Continue, sir. Please continue. I interrupted you.
Yes, so all the texts were written during the period of about 3rd century, probably.
Okay.
So it is a recorded. But the beauty is that all the text returns in the 3rd century textbooks very clearly says that it is not our own idea, not our own invention, but we are copied from the some other text that is older, that is Vishwakarma Prakasa. The Vishwakarma Prakasa is considered as one of the oldest texts. After that, before in the Vishwakarma Prakasa commentary, it clearly mentioned that text also it is a part of some other older text. So that is why it is a continuously coming. The people are compiling the 2 or 3 sastras as a one. So the tradition is continuing. That is why the texts are available now. So almost all the texts are prescribing the qualification for Yastapati. What are the qualification for Yastapati?
Yes.
It is basic qualification hails from the Vishwakarma community. It is in our country, we have the caste system. The caste system, other name, it is the specialization in the particular field. So we are taken in the positive way instead of the negative way. So caste system always giving the specialization. So the texts are mentioning the architect, the temple architect must hails from the Vishwakarma community, born from a noble family, and excellence in Vedas, excellence in Shilpa text, well versed in the Puranas. So these are all the basic qualification. Here, the excellence in Veda it is mentioned. Why there is a Veda? I already mentioned that all Indian sciences, all Indian knowledge system emerged out of the Vedas. Whether it is the astronomy or the medicine or the moral ideas, the everything is coming from the Veda. In our country, no philosophical system opposing the Veda. Just Buddha and Jain, both the religions emerged in our country. They are not protesting against the Veda, but they are also considered as a part of the Vedas. So even Buddhism, all the our God, what nowadays we call the Hindu gods, so Buddhists are also worshipping the same God. Jainism also they are worshipping the God. So Hinduism, Jainism, as well as the Buddhism, they are all having the common God in a different name.
They are the tributaries of Sanatan Dharma.
Yes, it is everything. It is called as Sanatana Dharma.
Okay.
So non-violence, as well as the high morality and highly refined aesthetic sense, all these are the qualities of our country, our religions, always preaching. Our rishis and munis were preaching. So, what is the excellence in Veda is required for us temple architects. Why? Because the Vedas are revealing the spiritual conceptual ideas. These ideas are essential. Also, the Vedic verse itself is giving a potency to create the creativity in our mind. The mind means it is not associated with our body. What we are called as Prana Annamaya Gosa, that is the physical body. Pranamaya Gosa, that is along with the of the air. Prana. Vijnanamaya Gosa, Manonmaniya Gosa, and going for the Sat Sit Anandam level. So in this context, what we are thinking about mind, it is not about the mind, physical body and physical mind. Our rishis are going for the subtle level of the mind. The mind of the mind, the eye of the eye. These are all very common in the Upanishad. Especially in the Kenopanishad, it is mentioned that eye of the eye. We are praising the eye, not the physical eye, but the eye, which one give the vision to the eye. The mind, which is not that mind associated with that of the physical body. Instead, it is we are praising the mind, that is the God, that is giving the idea to the mind. So
these are senses instead of physical things, are senses.
Yes.
Priority is given to our
Jnanendriya and Karmendriya.
Indriyas.
Above the Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. That is, our Kenopanishad says. So the Vedas are having the Vedic words, having the potency to induce the creativity in our subtle mind.
Okay.
Also, each and every alphabet in the Vedas are having the high level of potency to create the changing, to create a person's mind is completely in another level. Also, it has to interact with that of the inorganic objects also. That is why. So everything in the soul atmosphere may change if the Vedas are residing in a very perfect manner. That is why in our country there is a system. We are always praising Veda, always helping the Veda Pandits and the Veda Padashalas. We are helping to keep the tradition alive because these are all the words of sacredness. So that is why the Stapadi must have the knowledge, not only the knowledge, must have the capability to infer the Vedic words. So that is why the essential quality of the Stapadi mentioned. And Stapadi must have following expert in the following subject. The subjects are mathematics, astronomy, astrology, philosophy of different religion, etymology, phonetics, prosody, music, surveying, civil engineering, optics and light engineering, sound engineering, military engineering, geography of different countries, geology, economics, material management, quality management, knowledge management, history of different countries, epigraphy, calligraphy, knowledge of animal instinct and language, painting, sculpture, and process fluency.
Oh my
So
God.
many seminars I am repeating all these things so many times because these are all the very basic lessons
It's very
regarding
difficult
Indian.
to find them now.
Yes, nowadays it is not because without mathematics, no temple to be constructed. Even a small building, it is not possible without mathematics.
Mathematics.
So every subject having is, so if you correlate with a temple in your imagination, just imagine a temple which one very close to us in our mind. So we have to correlate. So all kind of ancient temples having the ancient architects having the knowledge of all these things. So this is one subject. And what about the other is the personal qualities of your Stapadi. That is the compassionate, self-control, always speak truth, charitable in giving food, good reputation, firm in decision making, faithful to his friends, soft spoken, sweet tongued, always happy in mind, should not be greedy, should be free from gambling, hunting, daydreaming, blackmailing, addiction to liquor and women, should always curious to learn sciences, should have inclination to learn from others. These are all the personal qualities mentioned in our Shastra. So, if a person having sattva guna, the person always, if such a person having the sattva guna, it is a tally with his personal qualities. So, for the sattva guna, almost all the shastras, whether it is a Nyaya Shastra or the Mimamsa or the Shaddarshanas, within the Shaddarshanas, all are emphasizing these qualities are very essential for the sadhaka, even for the ordinary person also. Desire to get the sattvic nature. So these are all fundamentals and basics for a Vishwakarma must have capability.
Sir, I have one question. I have a question. I want to ask a question that you said that Mimamsa and one more thing.
That is Shaddarshanas.
Shaddarshana.
Darshana literature. Darshana means 6 Vedanga. It is a part of the Veda. It is dealing with Vedanta, also one of the Shaddarsana.
Okay, sir. So, shall I proceed, sir?
Yes.
I have one question because otherwise I would miss the link. But when you said that personal qualities of the Sthapatis, personal qualities of the Sthapatis, that he should have all the sattvic guns.
Yes.
So I was just thinking that at this time, it is impossible to have those qualities to have the knowledge of perfect maths, music, astronomy, astrology, everything. But one who is doing the civil engineering, that person can inculcate all the sattvic guns, that personal qualities. If there is a trend, as we are coming to know that few new things are happening in our society these days. People are taking interest in learning more things from Vedas and Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So if it's my suggestion, and I'm taking an advice also from you. Can it be done in the civil engineering colleges where these civil engineers, budding civil engineers are coming over there? The first chapter should be of how they could inculcate their personal qualities as a sattvic gun before coming to the market and doing the development. I think that's why, because there is a lack of sattvic gun, there is so much of adulteration in the construction quality that the buildings, they just having the worst quality of raw materials. They highly survive for 1 or 2 years. So before coming to this profession, because every profession is the kind of service to God. So
Yes.
if they understand this and inculcate this sattvic guna, it will turn our country into a beautiful place with having these monuments or buildings. The structures will stay for long, isn't it,
Yes.
sir?
Yes, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
So I think I personally felt that if a student of civil engineering and after 12th also, and in 12th, if these sattvic guns are inculcated, so whatever field they are going in, it will help them to give the sattvic output only.
Yes, it is one of very, very interesting. We have to, in our ancient text and in our Bharata Varsha, is essentially a person must have the sattvic qualities.
Sattvic.
So the sattvic qualities are proportionate to the what kind of food we are taking.
Food.
So if a person having a liquor, so what is the activities are all the activities of activities for few hours. It is influenced by the liquor. So just like the food also, giving some food also, giving some kind of attitude. So that kind of attitude may not elevate a person from the tamasic to rajo and rajo to the sattvic level. Regarding the modern engineers, modern engineering courses are there, but we have the no scope for developing a person in the personal qualities.
Personal qualities.
So it is solely depend upon the families. This solely depends upon the families and the family elders. Nowadays, what happened because of the very small family, so the children do not have exposed to the how to give and take position, as well as how to control and how to control their angry, their feelings into the certain levels. So these are all nowadays. How far it is possible, I do not know. But Shastras, why the Shastras are giving lot of scope for it? If a person having the strong urge to understand the Shastra, Shilpa text, as well as having the lot of interest towards it, and if they have the dedication to follow it in the profession, they may not change, they may not deviate from the Shastric way. So in the modern scholars in the Western as well as Indian scholars says that and the Shilpa texts are almost stereotype. No, it is a misinterpretation. These are all the variations in the Shilpa text, but some of the systems are again and again insisted in almost all the text. So it is not the stereograph. So the text are giving the proper idea to the students to imbibe the quality, what should be followed, what should not be followed. So they are giving the clear idea about it. So that if a person do not having such kind of all kind of Shastric knowledge, but if a person believes the Shastra as well as the Veda, as well as the Vedantas, so he will be, a divine grace may come down and surely he may do his business in a very proper and a very moral way. I always told my subordinates, those who are working under me, what my advice to them. We are doing the temple construction work,
Okay.
so we are earning money. Out of earning, constructing the temple, we are getting money. So we are always do the work and get the money for it. Instead, do not go for earning first. We never do the work for earning. Do the work and get your payment. For the getting payment, do not work.
Okay.
So if a person getting, so you want very fast to get the money, what will happen is the first the quality may be sacrificed. And also it is very common to my subordinates. My advice is, whatever the work we are doing, the God is above or even in front of you, invisibly, or along with you. He is looking your work, how
Yeah.
you sincerely you are doing all the work. So that is why always thinking about the God. The God is sitting near me, so that I have to work the according to Shastra, whatever I learned it, and I must work it very faithfully and most honestly. So the God is with us, or God is in front of us, or in our beside our God is there. So this is a fundamental principle adopted in the construction of the temple.
Got it, sir. Sir, really wonderful to hear all this. And it's more means I am feeling proud that we are going to have next generations whom we are grooming to have such a great sapatis, those who having that moral base in them and that sattvic guna, that they are going to feel that God is beside them, in front of them, and watching all the deeds they are doing. It's really wonderful, sir. And to have teachers like you, it's rare nowadays. But it's good to have teachers like you. My next question is, sir, tell us something about the miraculous monuments in India, which are far away of human imagination. Means we heard about monuments.
Every temple is coming out of the tapas of architects.
Okay.
As well as every temple may be pointed out by the saints and the munis. Some temples were pointed out by our ancestors. So this Pavitra is there. In our Bharata Varsha, every place having some Pavitratva. So the sacredness is always in our country. That is why our temples were constructed choosing the proper place for it. Proper means which one is the most sanctity in that place. So accordingly, we are choosing that place.
Okay. How can we revive the awareness and sense of pride among our fellow citizens for the beauty and exceptional heritage? Means I know many people, they hardly take any interest in learning about the monuments. They say it's boring. We are not at all interested in listening that. So how can we inculcate that interest? How can we create that interest and help and ask them so that they could also get interested or get means motivated to help in reviving all these monuments and feeling pride for that. That these are not normal monuments that any Tom, Dick, Harry did anything and it was constructed. It is basically a divine concept. Exceptionary monuments. We are blessed to have all that in on our soil in India. So how can that be done?
In our country, we have what is the what we call as civilized people and uncivilized people.
Okay.
The uncivilized people having some basic requirement for the physical work. Physically, they require thirsty, hungry, all these things. And the small activities, then the people are satisfied. There is a no mental activity. If those who are having the basic economic as well as there is a peace and some kind of interaction among the people. Then what happened? They are thinking they are using their mental power.
They
So
are
the civilization is one
okay.
in which mind and body both are developing in a very harmoniously. So the barbarians are having only the behavior or the instinct of the physical necessity as well as the small economic activity only. But in the civilized world, we have the mental activity. All over the world, the human civilization from the lower level to higher level in the ascending order. So all the activities, mental activity is completely written in the literature as well as the music, architecture, sculpture, painting. These are all show how the people are civilized. The Rome, Egypt, whatever maybe. They are all very civilized people. They have their political system also, the political thought power also. But what happened? There is no such civilization is there. Everything is gone. In the entire world, the one oldest civilization is in our Bharatavarsha. So, our Bharatavarsha having the unique capacity. The other civilization do not having the capacity to protect itself so that they are all vanished. But in our country, our system is very strong. How the system is strong? The system is not about the particular clan of people. The system is covering the entire population of Bharatavarsha. That is why every person in our country in olden days having the capability to understand the literature, having the capability to understand the architecture, sculpture, painting, etc. And they love it and they enjoy it. So the refinement of in our country, it is incomparable to that of the other civilization. So the refinement, it is a declined after the 11th century. So again and again invaders came and attacked us. We are never be defeated. What it means actually, they are the barbarians. We are the highly civilized, refined people. They are attacking so that we have no other alternative. Sometimes we are what to do the next. But we have the brave people also. They are far and they are giving the fitting reply to them. Even up, that is why, since we have the very big monuments in the northern part of India and the southern part of India also. Now, what is lacking? Because of the colonial period, the British people planted an inferiority complex among the educated class people or the elite people. What the elite people are thinking, they are thrown away, even the vessels, even the furnitures they throw away and they bring it from the London. They thought whatever the European which is a very, very classical and which is a very highest importance, the highly aesthetic. That is why our Indian system of Indian refinement was corrupted. So what in the psychological way, the collective unconsciousness and the collective consciousness of Carl Jung. So in our country, Bharatavarsha, every person having the refined mindset towards literature, towards arts and crafts. So now we are everything day by day we are, the number is lesser. And what happened after the independence? Our government do not having the proper plan for it. How to keep that tradition.
That
For example, Vishwakarma community, the people are very much worried about the small creatures. This is only 5 in number in the entire world. So we have to make a mission to protect it. Just like that, small birds also, they are, that is okay. That is also important. But what about the human being? They are worked for more than 2000 years. From the Ajanta period, from the Satavahana period, from the Ashoka period, Gupta period. They are worked for it. They are worked and put the sculpture and architecture in the highest level. But our government has the no idea towards the people than that of the birds and other things. So that is the reason. So we have to revive it. How to revive it? We have to take the students to our monuments. And we have to give them what the explanation. Not only we have the very little history. What we are doing here, almost all of them is art historians. They are giving the date for the every monument. Instead, we have to give what is it message it is giving to us. What the message our ancestors, the temples is a place of worship, as well as it is a place of records of our human mind. Our ancestors' mind was expressed. How our ancestors are interacting with us, what they are telling to us, how to enjoy the aesthetics, what is the spirituality. So everything, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, the moral stories, all these are all carved in the temples. So we must come out and we take our children as much along with the friends and relatives, visit the temple and give what are the intricacies of that temple and what are the intricacies of the sculpture, how they are made, what are the technique, what is the inspiration for them.
Yeah.
For just if you go there, it is geography. If you go into the temple, it is civil engineering. If you pointed to the pillar, it is also a part of civil engineering. Then the carving is the drawing as well as the sculpture. And then how the architecture and the sculpture both are mingled together in a single pillar. And what is the God, which God is depicted, and what is the philosophy behind it, and how the philosophy is a way of life for our ancestors. So we have to tell all these things. So we have the little history. We must have a little history, not much, because Indian archaeology need more art, but Indian art need less archaeology. So,
sir, didn't get that.
Indian art need less archaeology, but Indian archaeology need more art.
Got it. Very true,
So,
sir. Very true. Yes,
so
sir.
that is why this is the only way. Then only they have some inspiration. Some colleges, I am also written the syllabus for one college, one very famous college in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
I had written about the ancient architecture for the civil engineering students optional paper. Likewise, our colleges must come forward in the engineering colleges to give the idea about that of the Indian architecture. And arts and science colleges also must have what are the basic principles were adopted. That is the way we have to revive our tradition. And
Because
secondly, regarding the people, very, very lesser number of people actually. So we come forward to give them appreciation. So that is the only requirement, the appreciation, and we have to encourage the people to study the Shilpa text as it is. So these are some ways to motivate the youngsters towards the Indian architecture.
true, sir. Very true. So, what is the thing is that to revive and create awareness is that the youngster should start reading the Shilpa text. They should know what all things were done and how the Vishwakarma community helped in the establishing the rich heritage, cultural ancestry for our country. They should know all these things. Basically, what happened, sir, that British are not only they created the inferiority complex in us, they also manipulated our history books with the help of some of Indians. They manipulated our history also. So we feel pride in learning or nurturing or knowing or telling about
Yes.
the European culture and European constructions more instead of Indian. But it's maybe it's that we are not aware of that Indian culture is the richest culture and the more civilized one. So it's high time that we should create that awareness, uh, make it part and parcel of our life that we are the superior one, superior
Yes.
species that God has created, and more loved one also, because
Yes.
all the birth of all the avatars of God uh, came to India itself on the land of this Bharat Bhumi. So it's wonderful, but that's what the problem is, that parents also and the students and the young generation, they are not at all interested in learning all these things or knowing about all these things. But people like you, they are doing wonderful that you gave the your content also for the universities, sir. It's wonderful knowing about that. We'll continue our session in next episode. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Knowing
you.
so much about the culture and the heritage, it's really wonderful. Dhanyavad, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Dhanyavad.